So you need to know the different factors that affect the rate of photosynthesis. So those factors that affect the rate we call limiting factors. So these are called limiting factors. And the best way to think about it, which I've drawn already, is if I had a barrel, so imagine this was a barrel. It's not a very good picture, my drawing skills aren't great, but it will do. So if I put water into the top of this barrel, you could see that here with this one, this is the lowest edge of the barrel. So here's the different sides of the barrel. This one is the lowest. So I would only be able to, at the moment, fill my barrel to that line because water would then flow over because that's the lowest point. Okay, so at this point here, carbon dioxide is my limiting factor. There's plenty of light, there's plenty of temperature, temperature's good, there's plenty of water in the environment, but actually I can only go this far with my reaction, and the carbon dioxide is my limiting factor. If I then were in a situation where I was able to give more or provide more carbon dioxide, okay, so now I've added more carbon dioxide, now what's happened is light is now my limiting factor because I put water in here. Now I can raise my rate up to that point, and light is the thing now that I can't go beyond. So light is my limiting factor. So we can draw that on a graph, and this is how they might give it to you in your exam. Okay, you've got your graph, and let's say we were doing light. Okay, so you have light increasing along the x-axis, and then you have the rate of photosynthesis on the y-axis. And as mine here, okay, with my barrel picture here, as I increase light, my rate will increase. When it's dark, there's not going to be any photosynthesis, but as I increase my concentration of light or the amount of light, the rate of photosynthesis increases, and it gets more and more and more and more until all of a sudden it levels off. And at this point here, that's the same as me reaching this point here. I could add more and more and more and more and more light, but it makes no difference whatsoever because I can't make my reaction go any faster, because now all of a sudden something else has taken over as the limiting factor. So at this point here, light is limiting. But at this point here, light is no longer limiting, and now something else has taken over. So let's say back on my barrel here, my light is my limiting factor to there, and then if my light were raised, say it were raised to there, all of a sudden it's no longer light that's limiting. Now it's either my carbon dioxide or it's my temperature, whichever of those were the lowest. Okay, so light is no longer limiting. So they could give you this graph for any of the different limiting factors. So obviously if you take away carbon dioxide, if you take away water, photosynthesis is going to slow down and stop. If you take away light, of course, photosynthesis will slow down and stop. And the temperature will also cause the rate of reaction to slow, and if it's really cold, then of course it would stop. So they could give you a graph with any of these, and where it's increasing, it's always that thing that is limiting. So in this instance, it's light, and when it flattens out, something else has now become the limiting factor. Okay, so let's have a look at how that works in reality. So if you went on a mountain, and you looked at the top of a mountain, you would find plants such as Edelweiss. And Edelweiss is quite a small plant. Okay, and it's small because one, it's cold. So that means that photosynthesis can't be its maximum because it's too cold, and also because there is less CO2 as you go up into the atmosphere. There's less particles in the atmosphere. The atmosphere is less dense. So there's less carbon dioxide around. So because of this, it limits the size that plants can grow. And so what farmers will do, or what gardeners will do, is if they're trying to maximise crop production, they will have, you know, their greenhouse, and that greenhouse there'll be plenty of water here, so they have their plants growing. They'll give them plenty of water, so that doesn't limit their growth or limit the rate of photosynthesis. They'll also provide light, maximum light, so that isn't limiting photosynthesis. They'll add maximum carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, and also they will keep the environment at the optimum temperature. And so by doing that, they are maximising the rate of photosynthesis and therefore the rate of growth of plants kept inside that environment. One of those things isn't then stopping or slowing down the rate of photosynthesis.